Hi there, everyone. Thank you for joining me. This is Gabriel Visiontoon Lamette. I'm so excited that you decided to join me for this Spotlight Saturday segment for this week. And I'm really wanting to get into this subject here because for me, I believe this subject actually hits home. It's kind of a remembrance of sorts for me in my what I would consider to be more influential years, which was during my high school and college years. And it goes into the fact of sometimes at that age and during that period, we have a plan that we put in place for ourselves and we get very tunnel vision minded. And it is important, obviously, to have vision. That is definitely an important factor to have as you're navigating through this thing called life. However, we have to be willing to respect the road and the different turns and the U-turns that sometimes end up happening as you're on your way to your ultimate goal. Being able to respect these different levels of our walks actually will be able to allow us to be able to learn a lot more. It will also help to mature our vision because sometimes what we see in the moment as an idea, it's definitely not at its most mature state. Even at this point where I am in my life, I know this is not the final picture of where things will be. And just when I will think that I've reached that level of it really being in pocket for where it needs to be, another opportunity and another unfolding will take place. And so with that in mind, I've done, some motivational speaking for different college age students before. I thought this was a really good spotlight to be able to do on a young lady that I know, and her name is Rosemary Lee. She is literally within that age frame of the 20s where she's going through the process, but I am so happy to see that she's actually willing to look at this with the right lenses so that as life is doing what it will do, whether it be predictable or unpredictable, she is taking the time to experience it, she's taking the time to appreciate it, and then at the same time she's taking the perspective of being able to learn as much as she can while she's going through this process. So, Rosemary, I'm going to go ahead and turn this on over to you.
Hey everybody! So, growing up, I was always really drawn to anything that had to do with the arts, whether that be drawing or coloring, or music or theater. It was just always something that piqued my interest. And growing up, my mom was a florist, so a lot of my memories growing up are going to her work and playing with flowers and making little arrangements for fun. So when it came time for me to decide what I wanted to study in college, I decided that I wanted to go to art school to get a degree in photography. And thankfully my parents were super supportive and they just wanted me to do whatever made me happy. So if I wanted to be a photographer for the rest of my life, they were there to support me the whole time. My favorite things to photograph are food and people, and this photo is actually a picture of a cake that I set up and styled in the studio, and it's always just been one of my favorite photographs that I've taken. And after graduating with my associates, I went back to community college so that I could meet some requirements because I was intending to transfer to Cal State San Bernardino. And while I was in community college, I took a couple of painting classes, and I really fell in love with painting and the distraction that it gave me. Just being able to sit there for a couple of hours and just have my headphones in, and it was just me and that painting and nobody else mattered. It was a really good outlet for stress and just really good personal me time that I was able to take. So this painting is one that I did of a stormtrooper, and it's one that I did paint for an assignment. It was a portrait assignment, but I wanted to see how far away from a human portrait I could get without getting in trouble. And this is something that my professor actually let me paint. And it's been one of my favorites, and my husband is a huge fan of Star Wars, so the second I brought it home, he hung it up, and it's just definitely one of my favorites. So after I went to community college, within about a year and a half of me going there, my plans to transfer actually got completely crushed when I found out that I was losing my financial aid, and I just knew I wasn't going to be able to afford to go to a 4-year college. I had already taken out loans for my previous degree, and I just didn't want to deal with pulling out anymore. So this whole plan that I had for the rest of my career was suddenly just ripped out from underneath me, and I was really lost. I didn't know what to do. Growing up, I just felt like there was so much pressure to go to college on my generation. And of course, I can't speak to anybody else's generation, but from a millennial experience, I remember growing up, and anytime education was talked about, it was you need to graduate high school, you need to go to college, otherwise you will never have anything in life. And a lot of that has to do with the job market changing and college just becoming one of those requirements. So I was really lost. I didn't know what I was going to do. But thankfully, at this time, I had already been working at camp, and that helped a lot with just meeting other people from different walks of life, and seeing the difference at age groups of where people were in life. Some people were still going to school, some people weren't going to school at all, and it really made me realize that not everybody's walk has to be the same. And it really helped me to kind of deal with that and get over being so scared that I was going to be lost. What was I going to do? To realizing that it's okay to not have everything together. You can take your own time to figure life out. It doesn't have to be by 21 you have your whole entire life figured out, because that's just not how life works. But it really took me a long time to figure that out. But thankfully, being at camp and working at camp, and the people that I met and the people that I worked with, it really, really helped me to kind of open my eyes to that and to see that everything was going to be okay. So one of my plans, and the reason why I was going to go to a 4-year college, was because I was planning on being an artist and making fine art for myself that I could just try and get into galleries and things like that. And then for income, I wanted to be an art teacher at the college level. But after I stopped going to college, I was able to reflect on some of the things that I had seen while I was going to school, some of the things that I saw professors of mine experience, and just aspects of the work ethic that you have to put into that kind of a job. And I was really able to reflect, and I just kind of realized that some of what that requires I didn't really want for myself. I really wanted a family. Family time is very important to me. I didn't want to feel like I had to put relationships on the back burner for a career. And from everything that I saw, it was just very hard to maintain both for the level that I wanted to be at as an artist, and the level that I wanted personally. Everything that I had seen, all of my experience that I had seen, just made it seem like it was very hard to maintain both, and I just didn't really feel like that was for me. So, and now my life looks completely different than what I had planned when I was 17. But moving forward, I'm looking ahead, and I know that in 5 or 10 years, things can be completely different all over again, and that's okay. I'm learning that for now it's more important for me to gain all the knowledge that I can, every experience that I can from a professional side, and still being able to maintain a personal life. And yeah, even though things, life changes and life is a journey, and we have to take time to appreciate those little things along the way, and not just look ahead at a destination, because then you never know what you might miss. So thankfully, working at camp and being a part of camp culture has really taught me that life's a journey, and all sides are important, and you have to be happy with the changes, and you have to be okay with the changes, because sometimes those changes are what challenges you and helps you to grow on all levels. So yeah, I'm just looking ahead and waiting to see what the next 5 to 10 years has for me.
So I hope that you really got a chance to appreciate where Rosemary was very open to be able to share with you. I think about all the different things that I've been throughout my life. I've been a person who worked with youth. I've been a graphic design marketing person. I've been involved within music with hip hop and singing and all kinds of different things. I've gone through all of these steps and processes, and I've never wanted to really discount any of those sections and areas that I've been able to experience, because they've all added up to the relevance of where I am, and even the mindset of what I do with the different videos that I produce on this channel. And so I just want to encourage you to really take the time to appreciate the process, instead of wasting a lot of time questioning, why am I here, why am I here, why am I here, but you're not looking at what is happening while you're here. I just encourage you to do that, because I think if we can take the time to look at where we currently are and see what the significance of being where we are really truly is for our lives, it'll first of all help us to get a certain level of peace, as well as it will kind of elevate and motivate us to continue to move forward, so that while you're here, you nail it, and then you're ready for the next level of things. And so within all of that, I would also say, just as Rosemary shared, be willing to understand the balance of this. Sometimes we become so go that we forget about those other things that are very, very important, like family, like friends, being able to have that aspect of being able to be social. And it's not that you have to be social with everyone, because again, your time is extremely precious, but you have to make time for continuing to nurture those relationships, because just as with the Tomorrow's Not Promised challenge, the last thing you want to do is neglect someone who is truly important to you, and then tomorrow they're no longer there. Or unfortunately for yourself, you're no longer there and things are left undone. So it's a hard thing. I still struggle with it to this day, trying to learn the balance of things. Family, business, Visiontoon, all of these different things, camp, all of it goes together. But that's where it is our responsibility to take the time to make sure that all these things matter, and then prioritize them based on what needs to come at the specific time and at the right time. And no one can tell you exactly how that should look. You just have to be sensitive to the things that you have dedicated yourself to, so that they all take their proper place. Also, at the same time, Rosemary, as you being someone who I feel privileged to be able to be friends with, I encourage you, make sure you're connecting all of these different phases of your life together, because your initial dreams will definitely have their opportunity to happen, because I don't feel that ideas that we get as a young person are seeds that are meant to die. I think they are seeds that over time they mature. So add all of these things up and make your Make your time count as you're doing these things. Even when you're spending the time with your friends and family, make sure that it's counting towards the things that really matter for your ultimate vision at the end of the day, because your vision is just getting started. And as me being a friend of yours, I'm so excited to see where life is going to take you. So I think that does it for our Spotlight Saturday segment. Again, thank you for joining me. Make sure that you hit a like on this video as well as you subscribe to the channel. I plan on keeping this thing going, and thank you again for joining me. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll be seeing you next week.